Good morning. Good morning. I'm so happy to see everybody today. Welcome to the Success for Business, Family, and Life channel. This is the success. It's such a tongue twister, isn't it? It's the Success Secrets for Business, Family, and Life channel. Welcome to the Metadime channel. This is the Coffee Break Show. I'm Vickie Helm. I'm so glad that you've joined us. I know. I've been missing for a couple of days. I've definitely been working on my super secret project that we are doing. And it's going to go live in a little while. And one of the things that I want to tell you is if you're new here, do me a favor and just put your name down below so I can meet you. And good morning. Good morning, everyone. Nice to see you on, Karen. Nice to see everybody here. If you're new, put your name down below. We want to get to know you and offer you and bring you into the Coffee Break Show right now and say good morning for everyone. And I would love it if I could just see your name. And listen, if you're here every day and you always have a coffee break with us, thank you for being here. I really appreciate it. So where have I been? What have I been doing that I've not been here? Well, first off, I wanted to say thank you to the people like Karen right here and Scott, who have been taking my show and doing a really rousing good job of it. And there may be people doing that as well. So here's what is happening. We are working together to provide a better service, a bigger picture, something that helps people around the world move through this new world that's coming. And that's kind of what we want to talk about today. It's obvious that the world has shifted, that the world has changed, that the world is growing, that the world isn't going to remain the same. And that means, well, how do I move in this new world? How do I maneuver in this new world? And so, this is the future kind of I want to take it like, remember when the internet first came out? And the internet, when it first came out, you could see websites of businesses, you could see where they were, etc. It was kind of like it was a big new phone book for businesses to be in there. And there was something called boards, and you used to be able to talk on boards with people and have these little chat groups that talked about good new geeky things and things like that. Well, that's kind of where we're in. We're going into the world 4.0. And there's going to be more digitization of everything. And so when we're looking at our future, some of the things we know are crumbling at a rate that's unheard of before. Now, here's what I know. I knew the pandemic was going to end. Eventually, the pandemic is going to stop. It's not going to be a big deal after a while. I believe in modern science, and I believe that the future is going to be about growing a new world. But here's what I also know. I know that the consciousness of humanity has been disturbed. And here's what it's like. It's like, here's a beehive, and they're happily doing their beehive work. And somebody came along to the beehive and swung something around. And all the bees are ready to sting, and they're disturbed, and they're swarming. They're like, who is this intruder? What is this intruder doing? And that intruder is obviously the pandemic. And the bees come together, and there's a pile of bees over here who think you're just trying to take my honey and my freedom away. And that, the honey is the freedom. And then there are another bees over here who are not feeling very well. And there are other bees over here who are debating whether it's a right to, do we have to be forced to wear a mask, or I'm free, I'll wear a mask if I want to or not. There's all these hornets that are completely disturbed as they were harmoniously making their honey. And what they're thinking, good morning, everybody. Nice to see you. I haven't seen you in a long time. Good morning, Success Secrets Group. Coffee in hand. I'm with you. Clink. There we go. So now the bees are disturbed, and we are looking at civil unrest is starting to poke its head out. Right now it's in China. But in that same wave around the world, are we going to see civil unrest around the world because of the inability to understand what is happening? And that's a really big thing because there is still so many conversations going on about what exactly is happening. Is the pandemic a hoax? Is it real? Some people are like, well, it catches really easy. Whatever you believe, I'm not trying to talk you out of what you believe. What I would like you to see is the vast picture of what's happening in people's consciousness. Some people are fearful, some people feel very patriotic. They're like, you know what? That's it. We've had enough. Some people are contemplative. They're like, it's time to go inside. It's time to go. There is literally little pockets of consciousness all doing what they're doing. And it's not that one is real or more important or more truthful than another. It's that these pockets of consciousness create groups. And what happened when we create groups and we get beliefs and we hang out over here and we're not willing to move from our belief system is that everybody in our group believes the same way, and they think everybody else is just a little confused or really stupid or whatever. They get to the point where they try to get these groups battling emotionally about stuff that is absolutely irrelevant at this point. And that's the point of the conversation I want to talk about. It doesn't matter what you believe. What matters is what's going to happen. So imagine right now, if you saw a storm that was so big, it was the biggest storm you'd ever seen, and you look out at it and you're like, oh my God, it's a storm. And somebody says, no, it's not a storm, it's a hurricane. And somebody goes, no, it's not a hurricane, it's a cyclone. No, it's not a cyclone, it's a tornado. It's a tornado. You're out of your mind. It's not a tornado, it's a cyclone. No, you're a jerk. I can't believe that you keep saying cyclone. It's a hurricane. It's a hurricane. Are you kidding? I have the right to be outside if it's a hurricane or if it's not. The point is, the storm is coming. And the division between discussing what the storm could be and what it's like. And some people, they think, well, the storm is coming. The storm's a hoax. They want to take us and rob us and make us one world. The storm's a hoax. Well, if they want to rob you and take you of whatever it is that you have and make one world, that's your storm. And some people think, no, it's a collapse of everything. There's all these industries. We're going down. It's an economic storm. Great. That's your storm. The point is, it doesn't matter what you label the storm. The storm is here. You are seeing the beginning of the storm. We've been in the storm since, January? And we've watched the storm go all the way around the world. And this storm is an unusual one because it is going to restructure just like every storm does. If you have a hurricane, if you have an earthquake, if you have a fire, if you have whatever, it restructures everything that's in the storm's path. And the world is in this storm's path. Whatever you say it is, whatever you believe it is, and get that. I'm just looking over here at the our award-winning video producer. It's a moot point. Thank you, Robin. There we go. It's a moot point at this point. It doesn't matter what you label the storm as. What is happening is that this transformation is going to be here. The transformation that is going to happen is going to create new things on the planet. And I have been researching and looking at and I mean 5 years worth of research and saying, what's the future going to look like? And Scott's been doing like over a decade of research. What's the future going to be like? What are these tools that's coming in? And I think we are going to see some vast changes in just the use of this one thing called blockchain. There is a lot of stuff coming up, but blockchain is going to be one of the most powerful tools that is going to help rebuild the future. I also think the internet is going to get stronger. And I think that no matter what, it's like, I don't think they're going to get rid of 5G. I don't think it's going away. And I'm wondering, how can we how can we rise above that challenge? How can we use it or see it or make it different somehow? Love this. Has the storm already passed? Might we already be halfway through the eye of the storm, or are we just entering the first outer wall of the beast? That is the question, isn't it, Scott? I mean, the whole point of this conversation is that when we get to the point where we're looking at the future and what it says, it's going to do a big reveal. We don't know where we are in that transformation. It could die off, everything could return to normal, etc. It could collapse. I think we're at the beginning of some of the collapses because we have multi-million, 9 figures of job loss around the world. I mean, we're almost at what, 35, 65 million people around the world unemployed right now. Just with the airlines down and how that spreads out, everybody's talking about that. And all the doctors who aren't getting to do their surgeries because the hospital is deemed that not appropriate right now. Just the difference between the essential and non-essential workers, all the restaurants, everything that's been down for 2 months. So for 2 months, people haven't received paychecks, etc. So now they're doing this huge stimulus, trying to get things back on track. But the stimulus doesn't guarantee that it'll work. And I will tell you, part of that is because the consciousness of the consumer is a little shook up right now. People are a little afraid to spend. They're cutting back on things. They're not getting those big, huge paychecks. Now, this is what I want to say to you. This is the thing that I've been working on. America's middle class has been shrinking for years because we have outsourced it to other countries. And other countries have rose up out of poverty because our middle class has kind of been decimated. Well, right now with robotics coming in and all this AI coming in, our middle class is still shrinking. And there's really only 2 places you can go. You can become poorer or richer. But I think we've done enough damage on the bailouts where they're going to start cutting back on money's going to people from the government everything, because we don't have the money for that. We're going to be tightening up. And one of the things that is important for us for our future is to figure out how to create food, income, connection, because the pandemic isn't going away. It'll go in waves for a bit. And I think about, the 3rd year or 4th year, we may see a different kind of life after that, already being the new normal. The uncertainty puts the human race in an uncomfortable position. To continue with Vickie's analogy, it's like someone threw boiling water in the hive, and the bees are trying to figure out what happened and how to respond. They don't blame the water. They clean up, regroup, and rebuild. That's the thing that's happening now. Robin, this was so great. Thank you for that. This is the point right now. I love this. Mask, no mask. Virus, no virus. Food, no food. Garden, no garden. Jobs, no jobs. Real, not real. In order for chaos to cease to exist, a cataclysmic event must occur. Now, that's interesting too. That it's like once the event actually hits, and I think we may see a second wave of that event. I don't know. But I do know this, the future isn't going to look like it has in the past. It's not going to be familiar. It might not be comfortable. You will have to deal with feelings that you haven't dealt with before, or feeling confused or wonder what is happening. But this is the debate right here. This is the division in our country right here. Is it mask or no mask? Virus, no virus. Food, no food. Garden, no garden. Jobs, no jobs. Real, not real. That's the confusion in the mind. Everybody's like, there's so many conversations going on about it right now. Who can actually say? And so what happens is you pile into these groups of believing whether I should wear a mask or no mask. That's not the point. Is it, do I believe in the virus or do I not believe in the virus? The point is, what's your plan to get through it? What is your plan to create? It's like, how do you rise above the conversation? How do you rise above the noise and say, what do we have to work with right now that we can do right now that is going to benefit our future, that is going to help us become freer, that is going to help us? It's like we're so stuck on our past systems. We want to go back to this. I don't know that this is coming back. So what's your plan B? Well, I want to go back to this. This has to be blah, blah, blah. This, what is your plan B or plan A for that matter? If we're looking at going back and this conversation happening over and over ad nauseum, no, this is a fraud. This is a thing. You got to read this. You got to go over here. What about, it's like throws your attention over here and throws your attention over here. And your attention is the most important thing that you have. I love this. It was a great synopsis and perspective. And look who's here. Hi, nice to see you. Good morning, community. That's so right. Thank you. So look at here. So glad you've joined us this morning. Now, I want to go back down here because Scott had something. This is the interesting thing. My bet is we've gone through one of the outer squall lines. I agree with that. The first wall of the hurricane's force winds still has yet to arrive. All the second, the third order effects the past 10 weeks are still just coalescing and have largely been discounted as fear-mongering. Let's go to the beach and play. Yes, that's right. I think that this is an accurate view. There are so many, it's like there's so many that feel that it's a hoax, that it's not even, more people die from cancer, more people die from this, more people die from that. For me, the way I view it is, I think that it's deliberate. It's not just more people die from this or more people die from that. I think the pandemic was deliberate. And whether you're Republican or Democrat or liberal or conservative, it doesn't matter. Somebody did something, and I think it's kind of deliberate that they did it. And that should unite us. That, to me, that one thing, it's like, do you know, it's like 9/11. 9/11 happened, the plane went into the building, and we're debating whether it was a plane or a helicopter or whether it was their right to go through that plane. I mean, it's so subtle. If this is a terrorist-like virus that has gone to make propaganda, that has gone to make sort of, it's like, if this is an attack on humanity, because it is, it's not an attack on American rights or freedoms. It's rights and freedoms around the world. It started in China, then it went all the way over to Italy. It was like, hi, I'm in China, and now I'm in Italy, and now here, and now Brazil is coming up. This is not something that is an attack on a country. It's an attack on humanity. And if the beaches were okay, then we take a look at Brazil, and that pandemic is still there. It's not about the liberties of a country. It's about the liberties of humanity. And so, I'm sorry, I have to get this up. Deliberately accidental. I agree with that. No judgment, but worth a ponder. We have much to learn from the other souls on the planet. We do. And if we watch other countries, it is within the eye of the cataclysmic storm, a moment of peace exists. At the moment, we are given a choice, and a moment we are in the now. That's, to me, very important. This is exactly where we are right now. That's the most perfect. I mean, if I say anything, this is the most perfect description of that. We are in the eye of the storm right now. At the moment, we are given a choice, and a moment we are in the now. We are in the now. Where will we choose to go as individuals, as a people, as a nation, as a world. Everything is spirit. Now, I want you to go back to that, because right now everybody's in their human experience right now, but they don't realize that this is just a human experience and we are that spirit. This is, Donnie, this is so powerful what you said right here. It is within the eye of the cataclysmic storm, a moment of peace exists. At that moment, we're given a choice, and a moment we are in the now. That's where we are right now. And a lot of people are thinking, they are not feeling. They're thinking, and they are telling themselves stories and everything else. What happens if you listen in? What would your spirit say to you? Where will we choose to go as individuals, as a people, as a nation, and as a world? See, I know where we'll go as individuals, but as a people, a nation, a world, that's where I think they're attacking us. I think that division in those stories, those division of stories, doesn't help us unite, the whole world unite. It doesn't help us do that. And what we're noticing, especially in China right now, if you don't know, there is a lot of unrest between Hong Kong and the CCP. So your future, we got together, all of us at Metadime, and said, what is the best thing we can do to help? What is the best thing we can do to help? So here's my point of it. Come on, people, now. Smile on your brother. Everybody get together. Try to love one another right now. And that means stopping the division of humanity. Not your rights, not people. Stop the division of humanity. Stop. Doesn't matter whether you're liberal or conservative. The same media is the same media, and they're going to try and confuse you. There's a point in our future where we have to stop ourselves from joining the conversation. Just joining and believing I have the truth. I'm the one that has the truth. I know they have the truth because they keep pulling my videos off of YouTube onto there. They keep pulling it off. So I know I've hit something because YouTube doesn't like me. They think it's false and bring it out. That's not the issue. It's not whether, okay, so somebody thinks you think you're telling the truth. How does that stop the storm from decimating you? By knowing that truth. If you know the truth, but you are not making a plan, you are not figuring out how you're going to survive, you are not figuring out what the things you need for your family are, all your ego is going to get is a good ego rub, and then you're going to get plowed. Right now, I'm watching millionaires drop like flies because their businesses were not built around answering the call of the now. It's answering the call of the past. And there's going to be more people going down. We have a lot of things that are going to be happening. And so it's going to take a lot of things. It's going to take a lot of things to go ahead and make this turn around. I want to talk about this. If this pandemic is deliberate, and I believe it is, we must realize this is a world terrorist attack. That's the whole thing right there. I would like to see us all aligned to get stronger together, identify the solution together, remove the problem together, and lift each other up together. And that's the point. As long as we are separate hives, we can't figure out who the problem is. We can't figure out, as long as there's so much propaganda, we can't figure it out. You're just saying it's like being on a sports team. It's like, hi, I'm a Philadelphia Eagle. No, I'm a Denver Bronco. And whatever it is that you're doing right now, look at all of those. You're joining a team. But that doesn't give us discernment enough to figure out who aligns so we can get together, identify the solution together, remove the problem together, and lift each other up together. Thank you, Karen. That was powerful. That's the whole point of it. Hi, Deb. How are you? Nice to see you on, my friend. We can't unite. The government is forcing us to socially distance ourselves from others. And I'm beginning to wonder why. That is the whole point. There it is. There's the thing. We should all be wondering why. And I get the social distance because this pandemic, the virus is so viral, it can fly. It's catchier than others. It's catchier. So I like this. I totally get and agree with Karen. I do too. I'm like, if this is deliberate, how do we create enough unity to even survive it? Because right now they've cut that, you have no idea, they've cut off so much food supply. There's farmers having to spill thousands and thousands and thousands of tons of milk. And the cows are killing our food so fast, and everybody is paying attention to whether the mask, they get to wear it or not. It's like, if this is a terrorist attack, you need to look at where they're attacking. We're so busy arguing amongst ourselves, we can't see that they're attacking our water supply, that they're attacking our food supply, that they're attacking our supply chain completely. If you had a mask right now, here's your map, we're going to put a big map up. Remember the game Risk? If you're old enough to remember Risk, it's a battle plan. What are you going to take out so that they will surrender to you? What are they going to take out? Well, they're going to take out your food sources. They're going to take out your supply chains. They're going to blow up your bridge. They're going to blow up your ability to get money and move. They're going to blow up your transportation. What's the first thing went down? Our inability to fly. It's like, hi, no planes can come in because there's a pandemic. Okay, so if that's true, it's not where the pandemic is going next. It's like, you got to cut it off so it doesn't come into this country. And there's a debate right now that the CCP hid the data, and presidents and prime ministers around the world didn't make fast enough decisions, with the exception of New Zealand, because she's just really awesome there. She's a great leader. But my point is, that's the future. Are you willing to look at what it is that happened in this era? Is it a terrorist attack? Well, if it is, and here's your map, if you see your map and your map is there, you're thinking, what's the strategy I would use if I wanted to take over the world? What is it? What's the strategy? Most people would say destroy the money, but that didn't happen. It's destroy your ability to, destroy systems, destroy supply chains. In World War II, that was the whole point. They knew the boats going over, they would kill the boats because they knew they were killing the supply chain to the soldiers over in Europe. And when they did that, they didn't have food to eat, and they would get weaker and weaker, and they were easier to take over because they were starving to death. Here it goes. The real question is, what is really happening? Where is this leading? Where are we really going? What is it that we are not seeing? Yes! What agenda is coming? And that is bigger than the virus. Communities must unite. It begins within yourself and communities. And I want to let you know, this is so important. This right here is so important to understand. There are 2 or 3 types of communities right now. One is the physical community that you live in. The second thing is the online community that you live in. And the third is the productions of your goods and services. This is coming. This is what's coming. And your community or your team of business people that do that for you. Because the way you make income isn't going back to the way it was. And there are a lot of businesses right now that are slowing down, that are going to be harder to work, it's going to be harder to make a sale. People are cautious with their money. It's going to be harder for them to part with it. You have to deliver real value for that to happen. But there are 3 types of communities right now, and you have to belong to all 3. There's got to be all 3 for you to get through and survive together. So the real question is, what is really happening? That's the real question. That's the one question. Most people think, oh yeah, I know what's going on. I know what's going on because, I have no expertise in it, but I know what's going on. And so where is it leading? What's really happening, and where is it leading? So where are we really going? Where are you really going? What is it that we are not seeing? That's a very big question. Even though you think you see the truth and you know it, and you're the smartest person on the team, put your ego aside. That's the hardest thing to do right now because people love their ego rubbed. And Risa says, hi. I want to go back and say hello to Risa, but I also want to go back to what Donnie was saying, because this is the profundity of it all. This is so important. You have to be asking to this question, what it is, where you're going, what's really happening, how am I getting through this, what agenda is coming that is bigger than this virus, what's behind it. You see, there's an attack. An attack usually happens to be taken over. Now, again, these are great questions. They, whoever they are forcing ranchers to euthanize their herds of flocks of chicken. Why? We're left completely vulnerable, and nobody is looking at the left completely vulnerable. They're arguing about whether they have the right to wear a mask or be forced to wear a mask. There's a bigger picture here. And it's not country centric. It can't be, because we're all connected by the internet. So the changes are global changes. They're humanity changes, not American changes, or this is what's happening in this country. Because you know what? I think that I'm going to speak out here myself. This is my opinion. New Zealand and Australia are going to come out of this the strongest, because the New Zealanders have a great leader, a really great leader, and she shut down the country way early. She was like, that's it. I'm protecting my people. I know we're going to take a hit, but the recovery is in the decision-making and the leadership. And one of my friends who is from New Zealand said, the reason they can act faster is because they don't have to put anything through Senate and Congress and et cetera. All of those things, those are absolutely so slow. But what I want to let you know is you have to begin asking yourself these questions. Scott's right. The first wave is we just gotten through the first part of the wall of the storm. Stop arguing whether it's a cyclone or a tornado or a hurricane or a, category 4. No, it's a category 2. No, it's a category. You have to stop looking at that and saying that's what it is. It's a storm. Everyone knows it's a storm. What are you going to do to get prepared and get ready to go through the storm? It doesn't matter. Like, I'm going to tell you, when the plane hit the building at 9/11, that was the scariest, most horrific thing I'd ever seen in my life. The most horrific thing. I wasn't in this country. I was living in the UK at the time it happened. And I just thought to myself, who could do such a thing? Who could do such a thing? Well, I want to let you know, if they can do that, this could be this as well. Who could do such a thing? Who is it that could do such a thing? And what happened was, we didn't stop when the plane hit and said, was it a United Delta DC-10? No, it was a 747. No, it was definitely a 777. No, we didn't debate that. We got humanity around the world rushed in to help those victims, those people go through the rubble. The hearts of New Yorkers were absolutely damaged and devastated, and we came together. And that coming together, that's what needs to happen now. We don't see how many people have died in a terrorist attack. When 9/11 hit, somewhere between 3,000 and 6,000 people died? Right now, over 100,000 people have died, and we're debating whether we can go to the beach or not. To me, that is the whole point. Was this done on purpose? Is the propaganda meant to separate us? Is the propaganda so good that we're meant to follow it and believe it and absorb ourselves in it, while all of this stuff in this big map of risk, they're taking over your food supplies. They broke our supply chains. They are now breaking our food supply chains. They broke our income supply chains right now. Hello. So this point for me is the biggest. What is happening? So want to say this right here. Scott mentioned last week that we are too myopic in the minutia. That's correct. If we step back to get the 10,000-foot view, we can see the whole picture to determine your next step. And I'm going to leave with this quote right here. That is the project we've been working on. We want to help people step back and get the 10,000-foot view and help them make decisions that are going to be beneficial for them. Help give them tools and things that will help them create income. Help people make themselves and restructure a new life in this new world right now. And that is what I'll be working on. And maybe this Thursday and maybe this Friday, you're going to, see somebody else on the show here while I'm working on this project. But I want to tell you something that's very important. I promised you this time we were going to have Wednesday guests that will only be to help you restructure your life, to help you build your income. And Wednesday, I have Barty Toto, and I am wicked excited about her coming on. She is going to talk about disrupting your brand. And right now, that's what we're going through is disruption. But she wants to help you learn how to stand out and build credibility and trust. Stand out, build credibility and trust, because that's what's missing now in the world. And so Barty Toto is going to be with us. She's a New York Times bestseller. She has been on I think it's ABC, NBC, CBS. She's been everywhere. But here's the thing. She was a New York Times bestseller, and she did it without spending a dime on advertising. She got to be on the New York Times bestseller. She is going to be here Wednesday, and you do not want to miss that show. You guys, thank you for joining me today for the Coffee Break Show. I know we had a very serious conversation. Tomorrow, we're going to have another serious conversation, and we are going to grow and go, and you will be let in on the secret surprises as they are released. And I love you all. Thank you for being here. Mwah! Peace out.